Very interesting question. This is a video to celebrate the end of season 5 and answer some of your questions. You can see I'm here with my bee, not with Cherry, and this means that I'm already in Russia. The bee is my very first motorcycle with whom I have traveled over 100,000 kilometers around Europe, and we went to Africa and went across Siberia to Mongolia. This was season 4, so yeah, go watch it if you haven't. It was really cool adventures. And yeah, so today we're answering questions about season 5, about Cherry, about my past, future, a lot of practical stuff and some financial questions as well. So everything you've been asking, and let's just dive into those questions because it's quite a few of them and I don't want this to become a 2-hour video. So I'll try to be short and precise with my answers. Let's go. Hard to believe the season is already coming to a close. It seems to go so quickly. Perhaps that's the viewer's perspective. How about you, Alona? Did the trip go fast or slow? That's a very interesting question because every day is full of adventures and every day feels like an entire lifetime, you know? You go through so many emotions, so many different experiences. But at the same time, I'm always running out of time. I always want more, you know? I always want to visit one more place, to experience one more thing. And the 4 months just feel too short. Too short. I want more time. Memories of the first seasons are dimming and overcome by the new ones. Or you still have some fresh memories of those former seasons. Oh yes, I do have a lot of memories from my trip around Europe because everything was so new and all the feelings were so intense that they're impossible to forget, you know. The first rain, the first cold, the first challenges, the first mountain pass, the first these wonderful people encounters, the first view over the snow tops, the first, I don't know, natural tunnels that I love so much. It's absolutely unbelievable the impact these small moments, these experiences leave in your heart. And then season 2 was going to Africa, and how the little naive me even decided to go to Africa with the bee, you know, a road motorcycle, not made for Africa, not made for crossing Sahara, not made for riding sand at all. It was super, super challenging, but it was a lot of fun, and oh my god, I still remember every part of it. I still remember getting into my first sandstorm and thinking, oh my god, what did I sign up for? And again, meeting the wonderful people. I remember each and every single one of them. Then it was riding around South America, my flight to Colombia. The way I was looking for Cherry, I bought her secondhand. I mean, it would have been 1,000 times easier to just buy a brand new bike from the dealership. No, I decided to buy it secondhand. It was more of a authentic experience in my head, and it went super well, and I'm super happy about Cherry and all the fun we've been having. And last year, my trip to Siberia, it was also a very, very special one because apart from all the beauties and the roads and the fun of riding, it was also like a very personal experience because I was riding through the land of my ancestors, and I was really feeling like a very special connection with those places. So yeah, every season, every ride has its own memories that are forever printed into my heart and brain and soul, and will stay with me forever. The happenings here, the season 5, are roughly 6 months ago. What have you been up to during all these months since the end of season 5? I arrived in Bogota roughly 5 months ago, and the last 5 months I've spent between Denmark and Russia, resolving a lot of practical issues. Sometimes I have to dedicate myself to doing some sometimes boring but practical stuff, but also reuniting with friends and family. And enjoy riding my bee as well. Unfortunately, this year we couldn't do a big trip like last year across Siberia. And yet we've been riding together quite a lot and had some really nice experiences here. How many kilometers have you traveled during the last year? Roughly, it was 12 kilometers during season 5, my South American adventures, and about 13 kilometers, thousands of kilometers, of course, for my Siberian trip, and maybe about 5 extra during the small trips and just riding around. So something around 30,000 kilometers, I guess. Now, financial questions. Do you have an expenses breakdown? I kind of track my expenses roughly because I kind of want to know how well I'm doing money-wise. And during all my travels, the last 4 years of riding around, whether on bee or on cherry, I've been spending on average below 1,500 US dollars a month. And that includes everything like the accommodation, the food, the maintenance, the gasoline, even the flights and visas and all that. So some months it's more, some months it's less, but it kind of evens out in the end. So let's say maybe 1,300 US dollars. Depending on the country, I would be either staying in nicer hotels or camping. Some countries like, I don't know, Europe, the accommodation is more expensive, the gasoline is more expensive, so I have to save, let's say, on food, so I wouldn't be going out to restaurants. Instead, I would be buying food and cooking myself more. But yeah, it varies, and I try to just track my expenses and adjust my spendings accordingly. I want to do rides like this as well. How do I afford it? Is there any work you can point me to? Maybe work as a digital nomad. So in my experience, it was quite easy because I was already a digital nomad before I started traveling by motorcycle. So I had already lived like 3 years of nomad lifestyle before the coronavirus hit, and then all the, flying got kind of complicated, and I decided to buy a motorcycle and continue traveling by land. I just basically switched from flying to riding a motorcycle, but I kept on working in the same field and doing what I was doing. I'm a software developer, I make iOS apps, and that's pretty much location independent. So yeah, for me it was super easy. And during all these years, I've met a lot of digital nomads working not just in IT, but also in design and management, in customer support. So it really all depends on your skills and your willingness to learn new skills and find a job, a remote job in the field, to be able to work on the road or basically being location independent. So good luck. I'm sure you can do it if you want to. Are you still active at software tasks? I don't do any client work anymore, but I still have my own apps that I developed some years ago, and I keep maintaining and keep maybe updating and improving. And this gives me some kind of semi-passive income, let's say. Do you carry some snacks and drinks on the bike? Yes, absolutely. I always carry some kind of emergency snacks with me. I usually have some almonds or other dry fruit, and I also always carry a can of tuna, which serves as an emergency dinner when I'm just too tired in the evening to go anywhere. And yeah, it has saved me many times, so that's always with me. And also I usually carry around 2 liters of water, which is more or less enough for the whole day for me. It is bad enough being a human man, but a woman. The extra cleaning supplies you all have to bring. Yes, as a girl, obviously you carry quite a few more toiletries, but it's really not that bad. Maybe I'm just used to it. I've never tried traveling as a man, but I've seen my male friends travel with just, I don't know, a toothpaste and a toothbrush. Yeah, I have a bigger collection with all kind of shampoos and, hair products and the skin products and all that. I like being a girl and taking care of myself. So yeah, it's obviously a little bit more, but it's not too much either. Do you carry anything to repair a puncture? Yes, absolutely. I always carry a compressor and a puncture repair kit for the tubeless tires. Do you arrange to have tires, brake pads, chain, etc. pre-stocked somewhere on the way along the trip? No, not really. I tend to be quite spontaneous during my trips, and although I have an overall plan and direction of where I'm going, I tend to adjust it quite a lot during the trip, and it's really hard for me to plan ahead so precisely to have, let's say, I don't know, tires waiting for me in Cuenca when I wasn't really planning to go to Cuenca to begin with, and this is where I ended up needing the tires. But yeah, I always do a full maintenance of the motorcycle before starting the trip, so I try to minimize the amount of maintenance needed during the trip itself. That being said, there's always some kind of unexpected service needed. Like during the last season, I had to repair my rear shock twice, and it happened within like 2 weeks of the trip. So yeah, you never know. Have you ever not been able to find accommodation? Oh yes, I have. Quite a few times actually. But the interesting thing is when something unexpected happens, like you have an accommodation planned and you arrive there and it's closed, it's overbooked, it's whatever. Once I even had a room and I arrived there and the booking didn't go through, even though they did charge me the money. And I basically had to turn around and look for something else. And every single time, in my experience at least, I magically come across some really wonderful people who let me into their home, apartment, or just give me some room in the corner of their room. Once I even slept on the floor in the hotel room of a man whom I just met in the hotel lobby. Yeah, you probably will say this is not very safe and irresponsible, but it went fine. It was absolutely wonderful, and I became pretty good friends with the gentleman, and I was super grateful for his help. Which countries are more difficult to travel in? Visas, roads, TIP, that's temporary import papers, languages, food, etc. Oof, this is a very good question, but also a very complicated one. Things like visas depend not only on the country you're traveling to, but also on your nationality. So you really have to do quite a lot of research before you, or when you're planning the trip. For example, when I was traveling around Europe, for me it was super easy because I'm a European citizen, and that means that I don't need visas for any of the European countries, and I can just, cross the borders. At the same time, for example, in Europe, the gasoline and accommodation prices are pretty high, which makes traveling through these countries less affordable and kind of a little bit more complicated as well. You have to plan better on your accommodation. Also, quite a few of European countries, you cannot wild camp, or you're not allowed to. I mean, you can, but it's illegal. So yeah, it requires a bit extra planning. Then, for example, Africa, all the countries you need visas and import papers, and it complicates the route as well. Some visas you cannot get them at the border, but you have to apply for them in the embassy, which makes it even more complicated. And for me, South America is super easy. Like, I speak the language. The countries don't require visa. They give you 90 days visa free with my passport. And the people are wonderful, and the nature is beautiful, and the roads are fun, and the adventures are on top. Do you have the next season planned out already? Maybe 2 seasons? Maybe some ideas that then settle in between the seasons? I'd be interested to know how these things develop. It's a very interesting question, and I wish I could say that I have, 5 seasons planned out ahead of time. But in reality, every single time that I think I have something planned, the universe sends me some kind of amazing surprise, which just changes everything and puts everything upside down. And I have to replan, readjust, and completely change the whole plan. So I'm trying to take it super easy and be very flexible. You purchased Cherry in Colombia and now you're leaving her behind to come back and ride more? Well, my original plan when I bought Cherry in Colombia almost 2 years ago was to ride around South America for 9 months and then just sell her. But I got super excited about riding around Colombia and I spent 5 months just there. And then last season I was exploring Ecuador and Peru, only northern Peru, and just decided to take it easy, take it slowly and really enjoy the riding. I'm in no rush, so I might just as well take my time to really explore all the beauties of this amazing continent. Will Cherry be getting some maintenance and such now? Oh yes. When I'm back in Bogota in about 3 weeks, I'll take Cherry to my serviceman and we'll change and clean and check everything possible to make sure she's ready for many thousands of kilometers ahead of us during the next trip. Are you planning to come to the United States or Brazil? Well, honestly, I'd go to every single corner of the world, but I'm afraid my lifetime is not enough for it. I don't have any specific plans about visiting Brazil or United States, but I'd be happy to. Australia is also on the list somewhere. So where to next? 5 months ago, I was planning to go back to South America and ride around Peru and Bolivia. But now that I've spent 5 months between Russia and Denmark, and I haven't been riding that very much because of all the practical things, now I think I'm ready for something bigger. I want to go all the way to Ushuaia this time. So yeah, Cherry and I, in a few weeks, we're starting our trip towards South Argentina. I don't know how it's gonna go, and we'll see where we'll actually end up in the next season. After retirement, besides telling your adventures to the grandsons of your friends, do you think to summarize it in a book or a digital format? Whew, I'm actually quite often asked whether I'm planning to write a book. And to be very honest with you, I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. Like, I know how much work it requires to just put one day's adventures in one video, to compress all this footage, all these experiences and random thoughts of just one day into one episode. And it freaks me out just thinking about combining all these days, months, years of adventures into one single book. I mean, that's gonna be one massive book and a lot of time writing it. How do you describe yourself, especially in the writing context? Very interesting question. I would describe myself as a curious little thing, very happy to explore the world and enjoy its beauty. Like, I wish I was a cool writer, but I know I'm not, and I'm not going to pretend I am. And it's also part of the story. You don't have to be a cool writer to go on adventures, to even embrace a round the world trip. You just have to enjoy little moments, and that's it. In all these years, what were the scariest moments you got? And the most impactful, nicest moments? Oof, I don't think I've ever had like a super scary moment. I mean, I've had plenty of uncomfortable moments. I've had some breakdowns in the middle of nowhere. I've had some unpleasant situations, I would say, but like something scary on a motorcycle. Like, I've even had some accidents, but I wouldn't call them scary. Of course, they're scary in the moment, but it's not like life or death kind of moment. And about the nicest moments, oh my god, so many of them. It's so many that it's hard to choose. There have been a lot of moments which felt really, I don't even know what to call it, which made me cry. I remember this very first time during the first road trip when I went from Russia to Spain and I was crossing Slovakia. And I stayed at this house, this guest house. The owner was a lady which had a motorcycle herself, and she loved riding, but she had never been on a long road trip. And the day I was going to leave, it was raining a lot, and I asked the lady if I could stay one more night, and she said, yeah, of course, and I asked her about the price for the room, and she's like, no, you stay free of charge. And I'm like, what? Why? And she was like, you're living the life of my dreams, and I live it together with you. Seriously, I was crying. Like, I can't explain it. I can't express it properly. I can't put it into the words, but these people are just amazing, and there are so many of them in this universe. From the first season to this last one, what has changed the most? Logistics, self-confidence, mental approach, aspects you evaluate more, etc. Well, first of all, I think I'm a little bit less naive now. I just told you about my African trip, so yeah, I guess you can understand. I'm better at planning, I'm better at packing. I packed more compact and more necessary stuff. Like my very first road trip to Europe, I had 3 dresses with me. Guess how many times I put them on. Yeah, now no more dresses. I think I have one tiny little skirt with me now, and that's it. Of course, I've become much better dealing with all the logistics, the visas, the hotels, the flights. I know where to look for help. I have apps I use, like navigation apps, traveler apps. I have plenty of groups on WhatsApp where I get some up-to-date traveler information from other riders about the routes, about the road conditions, about the safety situations and everything. I also have a lot of connections around South America, which helps a lot. So yeah, I've become more laid back, but at the same time more conscious and aware of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And yeah, self-confidence has gone quite a bit up, I think. Will this last season trigger changes to future seasons? I'm thinking about the Ecuador bonds created. Less slowly and more socialization. Well, it's too early to say. I never know what's going to happen in the next season. What I do know is that I really enjoy both riding together with people. Like my rides with Dan were absolutely amazing. My rides with Nikita last year and also this year have been really cool as well. So I really enjoy sharing these experiences with the right people with whom we match both vibe-wise and riding style-wise. And I would love to have more of these experiences. But at the same time, I really love riding alone, and all the random thoughts that pop up in my head during these lonely rides. So I really don't mind going all the way down to Ushuaia on my own. Let's see how it turns out. Are you not afraid of traveling alone? No, I absolutely love traveling alone. Traveling alone makes you kind of more open for making new connections, for chatting with random strangers, for meeting people, for making friends. And this is one thing I really like about traveling alone. Do you drive motorcycle in Denmark? No, but I have been to Denmark with the bee. What was it, 2 years ago on my way back from Africa. I did ride around Denmark for a couple of weeks and explored, and that was absolutely wonderful. Of all the places you have been, do you have a favorite? And what makes it special to you? Well, I know this is going to sound cheesy as hell, but I think every single place has its own beauty, and it's absolutely impossible for me to choose one. And by beauty, I mean not only the beautiful nature and landscapes, but also the beautiful people and the beautiful moments one experiences. And also, really depends not only just on the weather, but also on your mood and what you bring to this place. Where do you find strength to continue when it's cold and wet? And why do you keep looking for this kind of adventures? I don't look for these adventures, trust me, I don't. But, I mean, I knew what I was signing up for when I went for this last road trip across the Andes during the rainy season. I knew it would be rain, I knew it would be cold and miserable at times, but I also knew that it had its own beauty, it had its own magic, and I know also that I'm resilient enough to be able to overcome these miserable moments and still find something beautiful in them. And I did not regret it a single time, despite all the miserable moments I had. And actually, to be very honest, it turned out very well. I mean, there were a lot of beautiful sunny days and a lot of absolutely amazing moments, which made this trip very special. So yeah, these were the questions you have sent me during the last couple of weeks. And I hope you're satisfied with the answers, and I hope you really enjoyed this question and answers session together with me. And I'll see you again in the next season, which will start in just a few weeks. Thanks a lot for following this journey, for exploring the world, South America, Europe, Russia, Africa, whatever, together with me. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Goodbye.